you did some research, you were able to do a call, and there was like a chance encounter that you had. So, can you expand on that story a little bit and why it's significant maybe to prospecting?
Yes. So my story that I shared was a result of me enrolling at Uvero. I've been going through a bit of a transition, and I'll get to that in later on about where how I got here. But because of my interaction with Uvero and Sheila, uh, and basically saying, be authentic, be yourself. What's your why? I haven't thought about my why maybe in 12 years. It's been a long time. I've been grinding hard to keep things going. And it was at that moment that I really had time to reflect, what's your why? And it took me back to 23 years ago and saying, I'm a salesperson. I love selling. I love the interaction. I love solving problems through sales, right? I love the research effort of it. I love putting in the work. So I wrote a story based on a past experience where the company I was working for, we had a contract with a Japanese green tea company selling what are called catechins. They were able to extract the powder and the healthy portion of the tea leaf and sell it into the food industry. So I'm thinking, well, how do I sell this? Who do I sell it to? And sure enough, I'm reading through magazines and I see an article by Mars Corporation, Mars Bar Snickers, and the person's name in the article was Michael Mars, and Michael Mars was talking about their new Cocoa Via, which was a heart healthy chocolate where they were extracting the beneficial ingredients from the cocoa pod, and now there was a benefit to chocolate. It was no longer just sweet and delicious; it was a heart healthy chocolate. So we had some synergistic benefits with our green tea catechin powder. So I researched, I found the number to Mars Corporation. I called the company, I got into the receptionist, and I said, "Hi, can I speak with Michael Mars?" It's Wayne Miller. I'm representing Mitsui Norn out of Japan, and we have a synergistic green tea powder that would work well with your Cocoa Via. She said, "1 minute, I'll put you right through." Michael Mars speaking. Hi, Michael. I pitched him the same information, and Michael's response was, "Oh, you need to talk to my brother Frank." So now I'm talking to Frank Mars. This is a $45 billion global company with pet food snacks. And I'm talking to the grandsons of the founder of Mars Corporation. I pitched him the same information, and his response was asking me if I could meet him in Washington, D.C. I'm in Halifax. Now I'm coordinating an international meeting between a Japanese multinational company and an American multinational company in Washington, D.C. So I coordinated. Everybody flew to Washington. The Japanese company showed up with a box full of green tea chocolates, and they laid them out in front of Frank Mars. And Frank Mars gobbled them up like a kid in the candy shop. We sat, I sat back just being super quiet, and I couldn't believe what was, happening in front of my eyes. Sorry about that.
No worries, go ahead.
And Frank's response was, I'd love to see your process and how you do this. So now I'm coordinating an international trip with Frank Mars and his team to travel to Japan. As we arrive in Japan, we're greeted by Dr. Yukihiko Hara, who's the father of tea. We're traveling with him by bullet train to Shizuoka, which is the largest tea growing of Japan. So now I'm sitting in one of their processing plants and they're scientists and I see how they're doing it. But this all resulted from me opening a magazine, seeing a name, doing a cold call, shooting my shot and feeling like I can pull this off. And
I feel like most people would be so intimidated by that situation. Did you feel intimidated or are you like cool as a cucumber?
I was cool. And the reason I was cool is because I believed in the product I was selling. I had conviction about it. I did so much research on green tea catechins and how they were helping with cancer and, diabetes and weight loss. And it hadn't hit North America yet. And I said, why not be us? Like, let's go, team. So I was confident because I knew my product and I believed in it. It had some great background and research done already. So I felt confident pitching it to this company. And I don't know many people that probably do what I did. But for me, it was just like, yeah, I was the kid when I was growing up when they said, go knock on someone's door and run away, Nicky, Nicky, mine door. I was that guy. So, I I would do the same thing with my cold calling. Just pick the phone up and make the call.
So you have a natural knack for it.
I'd like to I'm comfortable with doing it.
Absolutely. Well, and it sounds like it bridges two worlds for you. So you're a salesperson professionally, right? But it also, as part of your background, you I don't want to ruin the story because I want you to tell it. But it sounds like in your family there are people who truly care about health, and not just health of themselves, but health of their communities. Um, and I'd love for you to be able to explain a little bit more about that and how that fits into your family and how that relates to sort of the healthcare side of things as well.
Awesome. I my last name is Miller. My grandfather was Tom Miller, grandmother Ethel Miller on my dad's side. And Tom Miller was the first person of color, African Nova Scotian, to be elected city councillor here in Sydney back in 1960s. He broke some barriers. Um, so for me, my grandfather, who I thought was, the greatest man alive, was just my poppy, was a counselor. He worked in the steel plant making steel, but he also ran his own restaurant at the time. But what I remember most about my grandfather was his muscles and his dedication to fitness. Long before there were gyms, my grandfather had a gym in his garage, and he had supplements. And I used to look at him and say, I want to be like my poppy. So years after he had passed, the city of Sydney, now Cape Breton Regional Municipality, came up with an award called the Tom Miller Human Rights Award that's been given out for the past 20 plus years to people in our community who exemplify, dedication to human rights and uplifting our community. So I've become the kind of person who select on the selection committee who is now working with the community to find those people and award them. Um, so my grandfather's love for fitness really affected me, where I graduated from Dalhousie University with a Bachelor of Science in Kinesiology and Nutrition. And I wanted to kind of use that platform to be able to create products and services that weren't being offered locally. For example, we didn't have smoothies or healthy options. So I opened up a smoothie bar in downtown Sydney 12 years ago called Downtown Nutrition. And we were a big hit. And people were like, why are you doing this? I said, nobody else is doing it. Nobody's offering healthier options at affordable cost. So I wanted to make my products more affordable so people could have access to them, because it's one of the biggest complaints with health food is people say it's too expensive. And with rising, obesity and cancer rates, and people, 1 in 3 children in my community live in poverty. So selling $5 smoothies fully loaded with product was a good way to kind of give back and recognize or continue my grandfather's legacy of giving back to the community. And that's how he's influenced me.
That's amazing. Especially not just that you were able to do that and saw that inspiration and used it in your own life, but that you gave back to your community as well.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of the time when people start their own business, there's a lot of from the outside looking in, it feels like such a monumental activity. Not that it doesn't feel like that to you as well, but from the outside looking in, it's like, wow, like what are these people doing that they're able to start their own business? I'm sure you've been asked that a lot. And I want to take it one step further and ask you, what is the one thing in that business that you did that you didn't expect you would have to do?
Wow, that is an excellent, thought-provoking question. One of the things, I started with a blender, and that's it. I rented a spot, bought a blender, started making smoothies. At the time, I had just moved from New York City. I'd been living in the U.S., and I moved home um, to work at a pharmaceutical job here. Unfortunately, after a year being with the plant, it shut down due to our founders running out of cash to cash flow the company. So I was faced with an adversity. The first time ever in my life where I was without work, and my basically only thing I thought to do was I'm going to start my own business. It's either now or never. And what do I love most? I love health and fitness and food, and there's nobody making smoothies. So I bought a blender, rented a spot, and before long, I had a beeline of people coming to the store. And before long, I had my first employee. And what really I never thought I would be doing was employing people. And over the past 12 years, I've hired over 60 people to work at my company. Still a lot of great friends, and people have gone on to do great things, but it was that aspect of really managing a team and now instilling my values and into the team to make sure that the business operated and the customers were being served and we could continue on successfully. And because of that experience, I won an award locally. It's called Next Gen Vital Award for Employer of the Year, for keeping young people here in Cape Breton, for jobs. Um, 2 years after that, I won the Nova Scotia BBI Entrepreneur of the Year, for the province. And I was kind of like, wow, all from buying a blender and trying to make a positive difference in people's health. Now I'm winning awards because of it. And it was just, I think it was the people that I hired that really made the business go. And I learned how to select the right people. I made some mistakes along the way, but for the most part, the people that were brought on were kind of like-minded thinkers, and they enjoyed their work, and it just made the business really successful.
Successful, and you carried on your grandfather's legacy in a lot of ways.
Oh, 100%. It got to the point, and I mentioned earlier, I saw my grandfather taking supplements and powders and capsules. Um, I even developed my own vegan protein powder, which is available online right now, DTN Labs. And I've taken it one step further from a physical location to having my own suite of health food supplements. And now I view it as a side hustle. And yeah,
I
it's just,
love it. Do the plug. I love that you did the plug, but keep going. Keep doing the plug.
no, it's my side hustle. I've developed protein powders, pre workouts, energy products. And I use them myself, and my family uses what I've created. And there's people that know that I have it, and my online customers, it's just their side hustle. So it's been pretty amazing.
So, as like a salesperson for a big chunk of your life, how has that helped you? Like with this supplement business, it seems intuitively like it would be, the same thing, but a business owner isn't a salesperson necessarily.
Yes, and that's so for 12 years I've been doing my business on nutrition where we're serving food, wraps, paninis, smoothies. We've developed the sports supplement line. COVID-19 hit and basically set us back 2 years. We had multiple locations. We end up shutting down two of our stores, and it's almost as if for the last 12 to 16 months, we were walking on one leg. And basically, as a business owner, you're now faced with having to make some really tough decisions. They're not fun decisions. You go into these deep, dark places. Okay, I've got staff, I've got payroll, I've got to make, utilities. And then you come to the reality, wow, money is not as flowing in as much during these economic times because whether it's inflation, whether it's grocery prices are too high, they're not spending, our customers weren't spending as much as they used to. And I had to make a decision, a business decision, to close my shop down after 12 years. It was a super difficult business. At the same time, I was uh, making the decision. I had signed up for Uvaro because I knew I was going through a transition, and it was Sheila's question of why. And I keep going back to that. My why is what made me happiest is when I was always selling, when I was meeting people, when I was networking, I was happy. And it just brought me back to the beginning of my career and said, yeah, you tried being a business owner and an entrepreneur, and you had really good years. You've made some lot of friends and won some awards, but in the end, the business failed, and it's time to close. But really, where I am at my best is it as in a sales capacity. And because of the experience at Uvaro and me writing about a past success, I got an inbox on LinkedIn, and I haven't used my LinkedIn in years. And Sheila said, you need to update your LinkedIn. She said, we're going to help you. And I said, what do you think? She said, do this, change your intro, work on your presentation, get ChatGPT to check it over. So I did that. Now my profile looks like $1,000,000 to me. And with sharing the story, I had a consumer packaged good company reach out to me and said, hey, we read your story and wondering if you have a moment to talk. And I said, sure, I do. In addition to running my own business, I have a full time job as a student advisor at a post secondary institution. So I have been employed, but not in the capacity. It's dealing with students and mentoring and advising and guiding them their educational path, which I loved, but it wasn't a selling capacity. So while in this job and receiving the inbox from this consumer packaged goods company and just hearing their vision, then I got an invitation to come over. It was kind of an informal interview, and I got to meet the executive team, and they shared with me what they were looking for. We're looking for someone with higher level sales experience and someone who can really move the needle and motivate, the other sales staff. Do you think you'd be interested? And I said, yes, I'm really interested. Like, I appreciate you reaching out to me, and this is an exciting opportunity. I am going through a transition, and please share more. In addition to all of this, because I was in a transition, I had started studying for my real estate exam. I figured if I'm going to go back to selling, I'm going to be a real estate agent. I hear there's great opportunity. So um, since July, I've been enrolled in the Nova Scotia sales realtor course, which I successfully completed. And then October 16th, I wrote the exam, and just last night received my certificate that I successfully passed the exam. So now I'm like a real estate agent, or one step closer. If I decide to go in that path, I have the credentials to be a real estate agent.
Wow, Wayne, you
Yeah.
are a modern day Renaissance man.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I've dug myself into such a hole, like financially, with running my own business. There was times where I had so much cash flow coming in, and then all of a sudden it's like I'm playing catch up. And that playing catch up, the adversity of it is one of those opportunities that can really crush you. When it comes to your finances, especially your personal finances, it's a crushing thing mentally, where you're saying, oh my God, I got to pay this bill. I don't have enough money. You're pulling money from over here to pay this, and then you're figuring out how to do it. It's like pulling levers, in a puppet show to make it work. And eventually, people, especially me, I started losing sleep. So I realized I need to sell. What can I sell? Real estate to me seemed like an opportunity. Digital Nova Scotia. I signed up for their emails because I was interested in learning about technology sales, and lo and behold, I got pointed at Uvero, and Uvero basically, that one question, "What's my why?" kind of summed it up. I'm gonna sell, and on the same day that I finished my real estate exam, I was offered the position of director of sales for Cape Breton Beverages, and basically